hard to start or is really down in power. If you have any questions about what you see in here, please feel free to reach out to us. Hit us up with a question on the channel. Phone number's there for you to reach out to us. You'll be able to talk to somebody real, and we will get you taken care of with your problems. What's up, guys? Jason with Car Smart TV here. I wanted to talk about these a little bit, because as you can see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and actually there's one in the bottom in my office in there that's in the tote, tore all the way apart already. So what you're seeing is the EZGO brand Robin EH295. Okay, what I want to talk about is every year you're going to service these engines with oil, filter, valve lash, fuel filters, air filters, all that good jazz, right? Well, if this thing has started to kind of get hard to start or is really down in power, when you go to do that service, check your valves, check your lash very closely. 4 thousandths on all 4. Okay, now don't know if you can see, but you see that adjustment screw there for the valves, and then do you see that adjustment screw for the valves? I have not touched this motor either, by the way, guys. That is not supposed to be that way. Okay, they will all 4 be pretty much the exact same height after you lash it properly. So here soon I'm going to be taking this thing apart, showing you guys what that actually looks like from the bottom side. Alright guys, so as we talked about the valve lash here and how off it is, and that's a heck of a good picture, or a heck of a good shot there. Here's your exhaust valve, here's your intake. Both intakes are in the middle, both exhausts are on the outside, right? So there's your intake, your exhaust, and you can see that adjustment's pretty doggone close to being where it should be, but that adjustment is not. Sometimes the exhaust can be a real pain because nobody's touched it for years and years and years. 1 out of the 4 came out without actually breaking. Getting the exhaust off is probably the real worst thing. If you haven't had the exhaust off of your cart in a while, this is what's going to happen. Also guys, if you live in a coastal area and you're dealing with one of these motors, you should probably take PB Blaster, WD-40 or something and spray every place on your motor at least once a year if you live in a coastal environment. Well, that's over. Also, while you're doing all this, be sure you're checking your notches and your gears, making sure your keyways are still good, making sure these little spots like this in your gears isn't tore up or rounded off or walled out. Just a common thing that you should do anytime you're messing with these motors. Alright, so a telltale where you have a valve issue or the valves have just gotten so worn out is that rocker arm is just gouged where it was riding on the cam so bad for so long. These are lost. They're done. Gonna have to have rocker arms in this one. They're completely trashed. Alright guys, time for the big reveal here. Ooh, a sticky head. Don't want to cooperate. Oh yeah, that's why the dial pins are so rusted. I'll be lucky to get them out. But holy crap. So you can see the exhaust valve and how it's raised up a little bit above the actual sealing surface. And the intake valve is supposed to look exactly like that, and it don't. If your cart is acting funny, running funny, won't start, hard to start, this is what I find is 9 times out of 10 what the problem is. So this is pretty bad too. That valve is a 1/4 inch deep or deeper. You see how bad that's built up? Well, that's because those valves weren't acting like they were supposed to, was not burning off the fuel. This would make this motor run with new intake valves in it, but with as bad as this looks, it'd be kind of hard to see, but there's a massive gap between the piston and the sidewall, and I know there's going to be a gap there because of the rings, but it ain't that gap. That is seeable. 9 times out of 10 you ain't going to be able to see the gap with a fresh set of rings and good clean pistons. I bet it's probably got, yep, you can hear it, piston slap. Same on that deal. This joker's wore clean out as well. So we'll just do a rebuild on it like we always do. But like we say, if you're having issues with the way your engine is running, chances are this is the case of why. And if you notice your valve lash getting really crazy like that when it should be like that, pretty common sign that you got a valve issue. Alright guys, there's our head all cleaned up, valves are out of it, and you've seen the valves, the intake valves, how they were sucked up in the head so bad. Here they are. The major difference in just the size. Both intake valves again. They are beat all to pieces. That edge, it is just that is not ever going to seal. It is just going to get stuck inside the head, which is what actually was happening with one of these. They got stuck, had to take and tap it out. Thankfully it didn't take much to get it out. With that being said, it is time to get this thing put back together. I got my pistons all cleaned up, which I got all that stuff, gaskets ready to rip, guys. So there we go, guys. And so you can see now that the intake valve is sitting just like the exhaust valve when you got your springs on. And so got the valve sitting there nice and pretty. And I know I keep talking about that, but literally I could probably fix 70% of these engines with basically just intake valves. But because you got to go so far to get here anyway, you just as well go on and do a fresh rebuild on it. If you don't have to have piston rods or pistons, like nothing's broken there, and you just re-ring it, put all the gaskets on it, put new valves in it, it will last you another 20 years if you do a yearly service to them like clockwork. Hopefully this video will help some of you out. Maybe it'll give you some ideas of maybe what you possibly could be dealing with, why your cart's running the way it is, why it's not maybe cranking up easy because literally you should just be able to pull the choke, take right off, or sometimes just hit the gas and take right off. I keep saying it because I'm hoping that it will lead you guys to what could potentially be going on with your engine, and you can get it fixed. Alright guys, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for watching.